Henry Ruggs, once a promising NFL wide receiver, is now known less for his athletic talent and more for the devastating DUI crash that claimed the life of a young woman and her dog in November 2021. After serving prison time, Ruggs recently issued a public apology. But while some are willing to accept it as a sign of accountability, many others are pointing out a much deeper issue. Today, we're breaking down what Ruggs said, why the apology doesn't sit right with a lot of people, and the real problem with his words. Let's back up for a moment. Ruggs was driving at a shocking 156 miles per hour in Las Vegas, with a blood alcohol level more than twice the legal limit, when he slammed into another car. The crash killed 23-year-old Tina Tintor and her dog, leaving her family and friends shattered. The story wasn't just about another athlete caught up in reckless behavior, it became a national conversation about privilege, responsibility, and the deadly consequences of impaired driving. Fast forward to now, Ruggs has been released from prison earlier than many expected, and in his first chance to address the public, he gave what he called an apology. But here's where the controversy comes in. In his statement, Ruggs expressed regret, saying he was deeply sorry for what happened and that he prays every day for the victim's family. He talked about how the tragedy has changed his perspective, how he's committed to making better choices, and how he hopes others learn from his mistake. On the surface, those words sound like what you'd expect from someone who caused such a horrific accident. But when people dug deeper, they noticed something missing. Ruggs focused a lot on how he feels, how he has been affected, and how he hopes this tragedy teaches others a lesson. But the apology seemed less about Tina Tintor and more about rehabilitating his own image. Here's the real problem: a genuine apology isn't about minimizing your pain, it's about centering the pain of those you've harmed. Ruggs didn't spend enough time acknowledging who Tina Tintor was, what her family lost, and how his actions completely destroyed a life filled with potential. Instead, the apology read like a PR statement carefully crafted to soften public perception. And this is where people feel uncomfortable, because when someone takes another person's life, no set of words, no matter how polished, can erase the devastation. What people want to see is not just words but long-term accountability. And Ruggs isn't the first athlete to issue this kind of surface-level apology. We've seen it time and time again, whether it's domestic violence, DUIs, or other scandals. Professional athletes often release apologies that are more about protecting future opportunities than truly owning the harm caused. These statements follow a formula: acknowledge regret, mention lessons learned, and briefly touch on victims without going too deep. The goal? To show contrition just enough to rebuild a reputation. But this formula often strips the humanity out of the situation. Victims become footnotes while the spotlight stays on the athlete's redemption arc. In Ruggs' case, that's exactly why many see his apology as hollow. It's less about Tina Tintor and more about clearing the path for Ruggs' second chance. So what would a real apology look like? First, centering Tina Tintor and her family, not Ruggs. Recognizing who she was, how her life mattered, and the impact of her loss. Second, committing to concrete actions, like working with organizations against drunk driving, funding scholarships in Tina's name, or using his platform to raise awareness. True accountability doesn't stop at "I'm sorry." It means changing your behavior, dedicating your time and resources to prevent others from suffering the same fate, and making sure the victim is honored, not sidelined. Until we see that from Henry Ruggs, his apology will continue to feel like a carefully rehearsed performance rather than a heartfelt acknowledgement of the life that was lost. At the end of the day, words matter, but actions matter far more. Henry Ruggs' apology may be a step in the right direction, but it's not enough. The real problem is that it still feels centered on him, not the victim. And until he proves otherwise through consistent, meaningful action, the public will have every reason to remain skeptical. So what do you think? Do you believe Ruggs' apology was sincere, or do you agree it felt more like a PR move? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that matter.